What's good, crypto fam, and welcome to podcast episode number 1234. That's right, this is episode 1234. In today's show, the Bitcoin price retains $27,000, but forecasters say a correction is incoming. In breaking news just in, FTX founder Bankman-Fried is facing a new charge of bribing Chinese officials with $40 million in crypto, and quoting Max Kaiser from a decade ago, Bitcoin is the proxy for how screwed up these other currencies are. In more breaking news, Hong Kong regulators encourage banks to finance Bitcoin and crypto companies in an effort to become the digital asset hub. We'll also be discussing why the CFTC is suing Binance and why it's a bigger deal than the SEC enforcement. We'll also be discussing Vaneck CEO predicts that bull cycle for Bitcoin and gold and expects the Fed tightening to end soon. We'll also be discussing Bloomberg Analyst says a great setup is forming for the King Crypto before the 2024 halving. I'll be breaking down his six-figure Bitcoin price prediction and quoting crypto analyst filbfilb. Recently, Cathie and Balaji both made claims that Bitcoin could reach $1 million in the relative near future. I wanted to ascertain how realistic these may be based on some modeling. I'll be breaking this down for you, as well as his $180,000 target cycle. For this cycle, his target. We'll also be taking a look at the overall crypto market. All this plus so much more in today's show. And welcome everyone just tuning in. This is podcast episode 1234. I am your host, JV, and today is March 28th, 2023. And checking out the market watch, as you can see on your screen, Bitcoin reclaim $27,000. Ethereum is up almost 3%, trading at $1,744. The big gainer for the day is XRP, trading at roughly 50 cents, up about 10% for the day, and pretty modest gains overall as the market continues to pump. And checking out coinmarketcap.com, we can see the current crypto market cap sitting at $1.135 trillion with $39.5 billion in volume in the past 24 hours. Bitcoin dominance still on decline at 45.9%, with the Ether dominance at 18.8%. And checking out the top 100 crypto gainers in the past 24 hours, Flare up 22%, trading above 4 cents. Rocket Pool up 13%, trading above $45.55. And XRP up again 9%, trading just under 50 cents. And checking out the top 100 crypto gainers for the past week, Flare is leading the pack up 21%, RPL up 13.6%, and we have XRP up 7.9%. The biggest loser looks like it's Hex, down 9.1%. And checking out the Crypto Greed and Fear Index, one of my favorite indicators, we're currently rated a 59 in greed. Yesterday was a 64, last week a 68, and last month a 51, which is neutral. How many of you are currently bullish on the King Crypto? Let me know in the comments, and at the end of the show, I'll be reading everyone's comments out loud, giving everyone the opportunity to voice their opinion and be heard. Now let's dive into today's Bitcoin technical analysis and checking out the charts. Bitcoin attempted to rescue 27,000 support on March 28th as the dust settled on the U.S. regulatory action against Binance's crypto exchange. That's right, you can see here in the Bitcoin 1-hour candle chart, data from Cointelegraph Markets Pro and TradingView showed Bitcoin repeatedly testing that 27,000 mark overnight. Bitcoin had seen downward volatility the day prior as news hit that Binance was at the center of a civil complaint by the CFTC, and I'll be breaking this down in great detail a little later here in the show. The move unsettled the markets, with commentators well aware of the crypto firms previously targeted by the authorities in the wake of the FTX debacle. In a dedicated response to the complaint, the Binance CEO dismissed the accusations, quoting him here, "Today, the CFTC filed an unexpected and disappointing civil complaint. Despite our working cooperatively with the CFTC for over 2 years," he began. "Upon the initial review, the complaint appears to contain an incomplete recitation of facts, and we do not agree with the characterization of many of the issues alleged in the complaint. Bitcoin nonetheless managed to avoid significant losses, with analytics resource SKU suggesting it was Binance holding up to support in an otherwise nervous market." Quoting them here, "Markets want to puke here, but bid walls on Binance spot, preventing that and attracting more longs, it seems. Solid bid depth between $26,000 and $24,000. Now, trader Crypto Tony, meanwhile, added that Bitcoin had succeeded in holding its short-term trading range. Quoting him here, "Bitcoin update failed to close below the range low, so for me, I did not enter a hedge short position alongside my long position yet. For the record, my long I entered a while ago was at a stop loss of 25.5 against it, looking for a hedge short short on the loss of support zones, and for trading resource stock money lizards, there was little to be optimistic about on the shorter time frames. Quoting him here, short-term TA update, rounding top, decreasing RSI paired with Binance FUD. So there you have it. When someone else says, smells like a correction is incoming, let me know if you agree or disagree. And continuing the Binance debate, not everyone was concerned that the exchange would face significant upheaval for the long term. Quoting Pentoshi, today's Binance event is a short-term event. Long-term, it doesn't matter. And quoting someone else here, crypto has been through hundreds of FUD events like Bitfinex, exploits, China bans, lawsuits, insolvencies, you name it. And yet the market and new participants always return at the end of the day. It's just all about opportunity, and Bitcoin continues to shift hands. And quoting Scott Melker, Binance has openly began preparing for a regulatory crackdown. He agreed, describing as fine as the most likely outcome of the proceedings. So there you have it. And breaking news, as I shared, FTX founder Bankman-Fried facing a new charge of bribing the Chinese officials with $40 million in crypto. Reading it from it here. Furthermore, the conspiracy and the effect, the illegal objective thereof, the following overact amongst others, was committed and caused to be committed abroad in or of November 2021. Samuel Bankman-Fried, aka SBF, the defendant, and others directed and caused the transfer of at least approximately $40 million in cryptocurrency intended for the benefit of one or more Chinese government officials, and in order to influence and induce them to unfreeze the accounts. Now, this is a pretty big deal. Another massive fraudulent activity for bribing these Chinese officials. I say Bankman-Fried really missed his calling and should have been a politician. You know what I mean? Breaking news in Hong Kong, which we're going to dive into here in a moment. But let me know if you feel that Bankman-Fried is going to be fried, pun intended, from all of these charges, or you think he is likely to just get a slap on the wrist and evade all of these felonies against him. Let me know your thoughts in the comments right down below. And does this surprise you? Doesn't surprise me whatsoever. He's one crooked mofo, to say the least. But yeah, now let's dive into what's happening over in Hong Kong as regulators encourage banks to finance Bitcoin and crypto companies in an effort to become the digital asset hub. This is pretty cool. In a bid to establish Hong Kong as a leading hub for virtual assets, regulators are convening a landmark meeting between crypto firms and the bankers. Yeah, that's right. The meeting is primarily focused on streamlining financing for the sector with the aim of facilitating greater ease of access to funding for crypto-related ventures. On April 28th, a roundtable discussion is set to take place at the Hong Kong Monetary Authority. So shout out to Hong Kong. I've been there before. Let me know if you guys have ever been there. I had to do a visa run there when I was living in China back in 2010, 2011. Had a great time, by the way. The purpose of the discussion is to enable direct dialogue and exchange practical experiences and perspectives on the opening and maintenance of bank accounts. The upcoming event is set to be a collaborative effort between Hong Kong Monetary Authority and the Securities and Futures Commission, both of which are responsible for overseeing stablecoins and crypto exchanges. Hong Kong has been making strides towards becoming a dominant player in the world of crypto. The city has laid out a comprehensive plan to achieve this goal, which includes the development of a regulatory framework for digital assets and the establishment of licensing regime for cryptocurrency exchanges. Now, Hong Kong's government is also exploring the potential of blockchain technology to enhance the efficiency and security of various industries. With these initiatives, Hong Kong is poised to become a major hub for cryptocurrency innovation and investment. So there you have it. Shout out to Hong Kong. I believe the Bitcoin game theory is in full effect as countries and places around the world continue to adopt it. If you don't adopt it, ultimately, you're going to get left behind. Now let's dive deeper into the latest saga with the CFTC versus Binance, what this truly means for the industry. The United States CFTC sued crypto exchange Binance for trading and derivative law violations. The lawsuit filed March 27th, yesterday, alleged that the global crypto exchange offered its derivatives trading services to U.S. customers without applying for a derivatives license. The lawsuit from the commodities watchdog in the U.S. took many by surprise, with market observers and reporters claiming it to be a political move. Eleanor Terrett, a Fox News reporter, reporter tweeted that sources close to the CFTC suggest the commodities regulator decided to go for a lawsuit to show the SEC that this is a commodities issue rather than a security one. Quoting her here, new, according to sources familiar with the CFTC lawsuit, was dropped on Binance without warning. Similar to Coinbase's well notice, some industry professionals believe this was a political move by the CFTC to show the SEC that this is a commodities issue, and then rather than a securities one. They also say Vegas odds have the SEC rushing out a similar lawsuit against Binance as a counter. You can't make this stuff up, folks. The lawsuit accuses Binance of prioritizing commercial success over regulatory compliance. It said that Binance disregarded applicable federal laws while boosting Binance's U.S. customer base. The U.S. regulator accused Binance CEO CZ of 7 violation of the Commodity Exchange Act and controlled foreign company rules. And apart from the regulatory violations, the suit also specifically targets Binance's U.S. trading arms, Merit Peak and Binance US. The CFTC alleged that Binance and its affiliated entities are a common enterprise with an ultimate beneficial owner under the direct control of CZ. And in the suit, the CFTC demanded Binance and CZ should be banned from engaging in any conduct described in this case, such as trading on registered entities, holding any commodity interest, or directing any trading of digital assets. The CFTC also wants Binance to pay back the trading profits, revenues, salaries, commissions, loans, and fees derived from U.S. pensions and pay civil penalties for the violations. The CFTC lawsuit against Binance is a big deal for the crypto industry, given its general belief that the CFTC doesn't pursue small crypto players without merit. This was evident in the Bitfinex case back in 2018, in which the crypto exchange settled for a hefty fine in 2021. Now, Adam Cochran, a crypto observer, reiterated a similar stance, saying the CFTC doesn't go after small, frequent cases like the SEC, adding that it's a different beast and its cases are often fatal. In a Twitter thread, he commented that an early evidence gathered by CFTC would prove fatal for Binance, and he added that Binance could either fight the case in the U.S. or settle it outside the court, but in all likelihood, it would be forced to cease operations in the United States. So there you have it. I mean, the crypto crackdown, we already knew about it. I mean, since the takedown of FTX, or should I say since the collapse of their Ponzi, they've been pointing fingers at CZ and Binance. You had Kevin O'Leary pointing fingers. You had SBF, trying to say, don't look here. It's all due to him, pointing the fingers. So this doesn't take me by surprise, but it is what it is at the end of the day. You got to be careful with all centralized exchanges because none are safe. I think regulators can continue to go after the largest exchanges in the world and continue to shake them down as there is nothing new under the sun. But how do you feel this will likely play out for the greater good of the crypto community? Let me know your honest thoughts in the comments right down below, which leads us to our next story of the day. Vaneck CEO predicts bull cycle for Bitcoin and gold and expects the Fed tightening to end soon. We shall soon see, right? Vaneck, CEO of investment firm Vaneck, shared his prediction regarding gold and Bitcoin in a new interview on CNBC last week. His firm has $69 billion in assets under management, making them one of the larger asset managers in the world, with the largest being BlackRock, obviously, Fidelity, another major player. When asked whether gold at its present level should be viewed as an investment or a temporary trade that may yield additional profits, here's what he had to say. We're at the very beginning of what could be a several-year gold cycle, and I also put Bitcoin in that category as well. Let me know if you agree or disagree with him. And he also says, finally, as a gold investor, you've been rewarded over the last couple of weeks. Weakness in the banking system and gold rallied. That's why you own gold, the executive continued. The Vaneck CEO further explained that it could be a 2-year cycle because he believes that the Fed is close to the end of their tightening. The executive added, the market is worried about the consequences, and it could take a year or more for those consequences to roll through the commercial real estate market, the banking and lending dynamics, and maybe we have a shallow recession, he elaborated. And at some point, the Fed is going to start erasing, and that's when gold is really going to party. And discussing gold and Bitcoin, here's what he had to share. I think all the speculation is out of both of those markets. Vaneck pointed out to the Bitcoin price nearly surging 70% this year, outperforming all the other assets, and has rewarded the people that own Bitcoin for that thesis of wanting to hedge in their portfolio. And last month, Pantera Capital said, we are already in the next bull market cycle for Bitcoin. And last week, the Federal Reserve raised interest rates by 25 basis points. Some people expect the Fed to cut rates soon, including billionaire Jeffrey Gundlach. However, the Fed chairman, Jerome Powell, stated that rate cuts are not in the Fed's base case. And economist Peter Schiff said the Fed was already returned to quantitative easing, whether they admit it or not. So there you have it. Let me know if you agree or disagree with some of that analysis. And now breaking down our next story of the day, let's discuss the latest from Bloomberg and their $100,000 Bitcoin price prediction before we dive into the latest from filbfilb regarding that $1 million prediction from Balaji and Cathie Wood, as well as his $180,000 price prediction for this cycle peak. So here we go. Bloomberg Intelligence senior macro strategist McGlone says the stage is being set for a strong Bitcoin performance next year. Let's go. In a new interview with Scott Melker, McGlone says Bitcoin's halving event plus a series of other fundamental developments are set to boost the flagship crypto in 2024. Bitcoin undergoes a halving every 4 years when the newly issued supply of Bitcoin is reduced by half, and then the event has historically coincided with the Bitcoin bull markets. Quoting him here, the key thing is what stops the trajectory in the big picture, trying to play for these 10,000 moves. I guess, well, that's a big amount of Bitcoin now, can make you lose your hair. The bottom line is astute investors, institutions on the planet all realize every day that goes by is they need part of this asset. I think by the time we get to the year 2024, that halving, we're going to be talking about a pretty severe recession, all politics leaning Republican, at least presidential, and it's just going to be a great setup next year. I'm really looking forward to it. And in the near term, McGlone says he is not totally bullish on Bitcoin yet and is waiting to see the performance of the S&P 500. He says the S&P is a reliable measure of the volatility of other risk assets like Bitcoin. Quoting him again here, the current trajectory is Bitcoin is showing it's becoming more of a global digital reserve asset and potentially a store of value as the stock market volatility is high. The key thing is, let's say S&P is making a new low and heads towards 3,000. Let's see how Bitcoin reacts. It'll be wonderful if it doesn't go below 20,000, but we got to see. I don't know. Long term, as we get through this period, there'll be a more significant signals that Bitcoin is going to go up to $100,000. I'm too bearish on the stock market. The number one measure of beta of risk assets on the planet is the S&P 500. I am still too bearish on that to be bullish on Bitcoin. I just got to see how it pans out. So there you have it. And to watch this video, he did check the show notes below the video in the description. And now let's break down the latest with filbfilb and his analysis on this $1 million price prediction from Balaji and Cathie Wood. This is a very detailed thread. So let's break it down. Here we go. When using days from the Bitcoin halving, we can see that Bitcoin peaks at around 368 to 550 days post-halving and then bottoms out 779 to 914 days post-cycle. And shout out to filbfilb, by the way. Using the Bitcoin cycle high and low prices, we can derive the well-known Bitcoin price curve and upper and lower values, both of which have a power line of best fit with an R2 or 99%, which is outlined in that graph. Let's make an assumption. Bitcoin price behaves in a cyclical nature, largely defined in terms of time by the Bitcoin halving, which has a following period of price exuberance and subsequent decline, which happens on a timely basis, largely dictated by the halving itself. By combining expected halving dates and days to cycle tops and cycle bottoms alongside extrapolated regression of price data, it's possible to use this model in predicting where Bitcoin price may reside at the peak and trough of future cycles. It looks like this, as you can see in that chart. And assuming Bitcoin peaks and troughs in a similar fashion to before, here's the key outcomes for the next two cycles based off of this model: $200,000 in 2025 and $500,000 in 2029. Just how reasonable are these prices? An obviously well-contested area of debate. Let's look at the recent developments. As we know, Bitcoin was created after 2008 as an answer to the banking crisis as a decentralized hard money asset with a fixed monetary policy. Recently, while Silvergate and SVB collapsed, Bitcoin saw price appreciation as a flight to safety. Why is this important? Wealth is a mid-transfer from the boomer generation to the millennials who look to protect their assets like all other generations. They're likely to do this via means they are familiar with. An example, digital means. Tom Leah Fundstrat explains this brilliantly in 2018, and then this video is still one of the best investment thesis examples, which I still share to this day. I urge you all to watch it. Let's talk about gold. The gold market cap is effectively unknown, as the total quantity of gold is unknown, but it is estimated to be around $13 trillion. For reference, to capture this entire market, Bitcoin would reside at around $670,000 per coin. And if we assume millennials adopted a digital store of value and gold was dropped entirely, $670,000 would roughly be the value of Bitcoin today. So we know that Bitcoin has room to grow, but will it replace gold entirely? Unlikely. Gold has commercial properties, which Bitcoin does not. However, Bitcoin also has properties gold does not. An example, it's easily transferable and difficult to confiscate. Gold as a flight to safety is a bit of an enigma. It has not meaningfully broken higher since 2011, yet the money supply has increased 132% over the same period. Makes a great point. This means that there is a detachment between the inflation of money and the value of risk assets backing up that money, which is debt. Therefore, if we assume that the risk-off assets are underpriced, it is reasonable to assume that a correction may occur, particularly in times of heightened risk, which is arguably why gold looks set to break out higher towards $3,000. Let me know if you agree. Now, over time, I suspect two things will happen: a repricing of risk, and therefore the assets which represent risk off, and a shift from physical to digital in the same way we have seen with everything else. Put the two together, and it would suggest increasing the market share of Bitcoin and an increasing value pool undergoing repricing. So let's address the questions around the $1 million Bitcoin prediction. According to the model, Bitcoin would hit 1 million no sooner than 2032. Cathie Wood is probably making similar assumptions as this model. They are not unreasonable, and it is effectively within the realms of possibility. Personal thoughts: Bitcoin is likely to see a taper in effect with its price over time, which is only natural and to be expected, as there is a ceiling, and I do not think that we have yet seen a systemic shift towards digitally stored value, despite being on course to do so. My gut feel is that the bottom of the curve is more reliable and a better assessment of value, and would be a better place for most long view investors to be placing their focus. The rising tide. And he ends it with this: I recently stated $180,000 is the target next cycle. I will stick to that for now, and I hope you found this interesting. Let me know if you did, and so let me know if you agree or disagree with the analyst. Filby. With that being shared, now let's dive into some live Q&A, and I'm going to read all of these comments out in the chat out loud, and I appreciate everyone's support as always, family. I'm going to scroll to the top. Here we go. Good morning, Legends Valley Music Festival. Always a pleasure. It is good to see you. Digital Dankness, welcome. Portugal also in the building. Frankie V, welcome, family. SpongeBob SquarePants, good Tuesday morning, JV and the fam. Happy Tuesday. Good to see y'all. Digital Dankness, referring to a movie called Cryptopia that was made in a few years ago. It's a movie that goes into the detail about crypto and uses, the good, the bad, etc. Appreciate the recommendation. I'm going to have to check that out. Word up. Legends, you are a legend because you are here. Frankie reminds us. I agree 100%. So shout out to all the legends in the building. Yeah, Dankness, good to see you as well, family. Always a pleasure. He says it was made in 2019, so it's still new yet relevant. Word up. Frankie reminds us the dollar is coming to an end. Soon it'll be worth what monopoly money is worth. Exactly, because it's both printed on paper at the end of the day, backed by nothing. I guess you can say at this current moment, the US dollar is backed by guns. But the US dollar is absolutely going to collapse, and this is all by design. Because what happened when other countries like, leaders like Gaddafi or Saddam Hussein were trying to do their own thing with the currency and step away from the dollar, they got bombed and killed. Now, obviously, these nations such as Russia and China, Saudi Arabia, et cetera, they're accepting this and anticipating it because they're the elite, the world leaders. They're all working together for a new world order to ultimately destroy the dollar, hence why they're printing until the wheels fall off. It's going to hyperinflate the value of the US dollar and other fiat currencies around the world, and then they're going to launch their CBDCs, which are already in pilot here in the United States, which are central bank digital currencies. And the only way to stop that, stop it in the sense you won't be enslaved and controlled by the money you have, is with the antidote we call Bitcoin, BTC. That is the antidote to the CBDCs. So everyone here should be stacking Bitcoin, because if you're not, I mean, what are you doing? What if that 2-week warning from the Kenya president came true, and in 2 weeks the dollar is not the same as it is today, and you did nothing to safeguard against it? I'd hate to see that. So only keep in the banks what you're willing and can afford to lose, and I truly mean that. You know what I mean? So I think Frankie V is right. Good morning, Bitcoin Maximus. It is good to see you, family. Always a pleasure. Shout out to the entire Crypto News Alerts fam. Much love, Megadon in the building. Good to see you as well. Usual suspects up in here, says Matthew. Good to see you, Matthew. Appreciate your moderation, fam. Crypto News Alerts, crypto community. We are all way up. We are blessed. Way up. I feel blessed. 100%. Smack that like button, says Dankness. Secretly wants it rough. Check out Crypto News Alerts, links below in the description. And if you're new, subscribe to the best daily crypto news. Greatly appreciate that tremendously. And if you're new to the channel, don't forget to smash that bell icon to turn on all notifications so you don't miss out whenever I go live. TikTok next block. Tell them Bitcoin's just doing its thing. That's right, Maximus. It's on its own vector. The CFTC joins the FUD. Exactly, SpongeBob. I'd expect nothing less from the regulators. Matthew says Raoul Pal just made a post about the CFTC getting crypto overlord powers if their lawsuit settled before Coinbase versus the SEC. Yeah, I personally am not a fan of the overreach and regulations, just like they did with Kraken. They hit them with a Wells notice and a $30 million fine. Meanwhile, they could have communicated it instead of blindsiding them the same way they just did the Binance CEO as well as the Coinbase CEO. So what in the world is going on? It seems no centralized exchange is safe, but at the same time, that's what makes Bitcoin so safe. There is no headquarters to go after. There's no CEO to go after, etc. That's why Bitcoin will always thrive, and that's what makes it decentralized and unlike any other cryptocurrency. Frankie V says 100,000 Bitcoin equals Puerto Rico meetup. How many of you are pretty pumped to come to Puerto Rico? How many of you have never been here before? Let me know. I'd love to meet you personally. I'll even hire a video crew, and we'll get some epic footage that we'll remember for the rest of our lives, and we can share that across social media. I think that would be tremendous. I am looking forward to it. Absolutely. But the $1 million question is, when is that party likely going to occur? Well, when do you think Bitcoin price is going to hit 6 figures? Let me know your thoughts in the comments, and let's discuss it. Yeah, love Eleanor Terret. Exactly, good stuff. It may set precedent, though, Sponge, says Matthew, regarding to the case. SEC or the CFTC cannot set precedents. I mean, yeah. We shall see how it plays out, though. Judge's decision will Sponge. We'll see. From the lawsuit, the judge decides. The judge sets the precedents, says Matthew. Sponge says exactly, but this won't go to court. Dankness says Bitcoin is a long string of letters and numbers. That's right, it's code, it's software. To ban it would be banning free speech 100%. That is fact. That's why they cannot ban it. Preach. Crypto crackdown equals the Bitcoin stack up. You speak in my language, it is what it is. That's real talk. I expect the Bitcoin dominance to climb, reaching levels we haven't seen in a long time as people exit alts in a mass exodus, especially as they're being targeted by the regulators, which we're already witnessing firsthand. The government only wants fraud, and they only want the fraud they are involved in. 100%. They love Ponzi schemes. The US dollar is one of the largest Ponzi schemes, and they're all for it. They loved SBF, right? The Michael Jordan of crypto. You know what I mean? They love, they love all that. They love the corrupt exchanges. They love the scam coins. As long as they're benefiting from it, they're all for it. They're perpetuating it, and they're looking to profit from it. It's called collusion. It's not cool. So it's up to us as the investors, the people, power to the people, to expose them. Because if we say nothing about it, we're acquiescing and we're giving them permission to continue their unlawful regulation, in my humble opinion. But let me know what y'all think. I like Matthew J's comment. Gold has been around for 5,000 years and it is only at $1,900. Facts. You got to remember, 10 years ago, gold was roughly $2,000. So it's maintaining its value, but in regards to the US dollar, with all the money printing going on, it's actually losing money. If you really think about it, if you calculate the inflation into the equation, right? Because we really shouldn't be comparing anything to US dollars. It's too volatile. So it gives us the illusion that Bitcoin is the volatile asset. But Max called it a decade ago, which I covered in the show. You know what I mean? Let me share his quote once again, because it is so true. Bitcoin is the proxy for how screwed up these other currencies are. He said that back in April of 2013, and it's so true. You know what I mean? Everything is volatile against Bitcoin because everything is hyperinflating against Bitcoin. And we think, oh, this volatility of Bitcoin. No, volatility equals life force. Michael Saylor shared this before, and it is so true. You know what I mean? If something has no volatility, it means it has no life force. The volatility shows up in Bitcoin because of how volatile the dollar is losing its purchasing power the more they print and the more the money printer go. Brrr, you feel me? In 15,000 years, it'll be worth $8,000. Exactly how I feel, fam. Even further back than that, they have been making noises against CZ. They have. Real talk. You know what I mean? That's a 3x equals 5,700. 5,700 plus 1,900 equals 7,600. Under 8,000. Got to add it all together. And I was being generous. You make an excellent point, fam. There's no comparison. Then we compare the gains of Bitcoin in the past decade, the most appreciating asset in human history, the first monetary instrument which has a true scarce supply. It's not fake. Like diamond scarcity is fake. You know what I mean? The scarcity of gold is fake. They control it. They control the markets, hence why they suppress the price action. They can control it. And they have been fined multiple times, major banks, billions of dollars for manipulating gold prices. This is nothing new. Check out the history of Goldman Sachs and these corrupt banking companies. You know what I mean? This is real. Gold and silver used to be the only cross-border payment throughout history, and now Bitcoin restores that as the evolution of money. Very well said, Statwise Jenks. That is a fact, 100%. If you're going to travel nowadays, is anyone going to be traveling with gold and silver? Not in a large amount. It'll be confiscated unless it's jewelry you're wearing around your neck. Like real talk. Try traveling with a gold bar. They'll probably take it from you. Yeah, is this valued at more than 10,000? Yes, it is. It's mine now. That's how it is. Whereas you can be a billionaire like Max Keiser, and you could remember your recovery seed phrase, 12 or 24 words, depending upon your wallet, and you can go travel naked, not literally, but I'm just saying hypothetically, you could have nothing on you, and you can still travel with your billions of dollars worth of crypto because it's borderless. That's what makes this so powerful. You know what I mean? One of the many reasons, also including it being unconfiscatable, where they can just confiscate your precious metals. In fact, history shows us they could come to your house and say, do you have any gold? We're confiscating it. You must give it to us or you will go to jail. They have done this before. What's to stop them or prevent them from doing it again? They say history doesn't always necessarily repeat, but often it rhymes. So I don't want to be a part of that. I'm going to be stacking sats because it's the way to go. It is the future, and it's the antidote to the CBDCs. You know what I mean? Let me know if you guys agree. Maximus says, shout out to Max Keiser. Massive shout out to Max and Stacy. Personally, I'm a huge fan of them, and I share them so much because you got to give respect where respect is due. They started openly preaching and speaking about their passion for Bitcoin back in 2011. In fact, I was just watching a clip the other day where Bitcoin was less than $10, and Max was introducing it on the Keiser report, saying it's the future of money. You know what I mean? And he was spot on. So how many lives has Stacy and Max transformed as a result of the Keiser report? I missed that show. It's been off air for the past year, but it's all good because Max and Stacy have their own podcast, which I of course always tune into and cover. So my Second Amendment says they won't get my gold. I feel you, man. Is that the right to bear arms? Protect that gold, fam. You got to do what you got to do. But anyways, fam, now for a recap of what I cover with you here in today's show. I broke down the latest technical analysis as we discussed the Bitcoin price retaining 27,000 price action, but forecasters say that a correction is incoming. I also shared breaking news that Hong Kong regulators encourage banks to finance Bitcoin and crypto companies in an effort to become the digital asset hub. Also shared the latest between the CFTC suing Binance and why it's a bigger deal than an SEC enforcement. We also discussed the latest with Vaneck CEO predicting a bull cycle for Bitcoin and gold and expects the Fed to stop tightening real soon. to end their tightening. We also discussed Bloomberg analyst Mike McGlone says a great setup is forming for Bitcoin before the 2024 halving, and also shared with you the predictions from filbfilb, which include his 180,000 target for this cycle, as well as his thoughts and on Balaji and Cathie Wood's $1 million price prediction. But where do you feel the Bitcoin price is likely to go next? Let me know in the comments right down below, and I look forward to seeing you on tomorrow's show.